So the very first question was what we get from solar power, solar plate, right? So, and in conjunction to this, there was a question that whether we are getting any constant voltage or constant current. So let me tell you that in case of any solar module, neither we are getting any constant voltage nor any constant current. It totally depends on the radiation. Okay, if the radiation is more, then you will get more current proportional to the voltage. And if the radiation is less, or you are getting some less amount of radiation, or the rate of radiation is getting degraded time to time, then you can say that both the voltage and current will also decrease. Got it? So the amount of voltage and the amount of current, it's totally dependent on the radiation, actual radiation what you are getting at that instant of time. And talking about the other questions, that which parameter we get affected from solar radiation. So I think the question is not too much clear. The here what he wanted to ask, that what are the parameters which affects the solar radiation, right? So solar radiation is nothing but it is a natural phenomenon. So nothing can be affected from here. And to tell you in brief that there is a term called air mass, right? So you have also seen this air mass in your notes also. So if the air mass is more, then the radiation which will be reaching at the surface of the earth will be less. Okay. There are some other factors also. It depends on the pollution level also. Okay. Which is called the air quality index. If the air quality index is more, then the amount of sunlight that will be reaching at the surface of the earth will be less. As because if the thickness of the air gets increased, then it will get diffracted to other parts also. Right. So at any particular point, you will get less radiation. Next question was from Maninder Kumar Singh, that what is the difference between zenith angle and azimuth angle? So in our second or third lecture, I have discussed about the zenith angle and the azimuth angle, right? So these angles are nothing but this defines the actual position of the sun. Got it? So zenith is nothing but whenever the sun is facing true south, then we will say that the zenith angle of the sun will be 0 degrees. And as it moves towards southeast, then the zenith angle will be positive. And whenever it is moving towards the clockwise direction, that is from south to southwest, then we will say that the zenith angle is negative. Okay, so zenith angle is nothing but the compass direction of the sun. I think you have made a mistake here. This will not be like azimuth angle. It will be altitude angle, right? Altitude angle is nothing but the height of the sun. One is the zenith angle, second is the altitude angle. Altitude angle is nothing but the height of the sun. When at 12 noon or during the month of May or June, the sun will be at its highest position, right? Then we can say that the azimuth angle is the highest. Got it? So this is nothing but zenith angle and the altitude angle. So these angles are nothing but this defines the position of the sun, exact position of the sun. Okay. Next, I got some comment in the AutoCAD part 1 and part 2 that someone from you were asking about the notes, right? So to tell you very frankly that for this AutoCAD part, you have to make your own notes. So, you know, as you proceed towards the lecture, you will see that there are a lot and a number of commands, and each command has its own elaboration. So it's better you write in your own language and make a small line of one or two so that it is easy for your understanding. Okay. So for this AutoCAD sessions, that is AutoCAD part 1 and part 2, you have to make your own notes. And still if you are facing any issue in a particular command, then I will be there to show you during these live sessions, that how we can use those commands. Next question was from Mr. Jiggar Patel. So can you provide other AutoCAD sample files for SLD? Okay, I can provide you the AutoCAD file, but it will not be in DWG format. It will be either in JPG format or PDF format. Okay, so there are some privacy policies in each and every company. So we cannot provide you the direct DWG file. So I will take a PDF from here and give you as your requirement. So you need all this for your practice purpose, right? So I will be giving you this. So after this session, I will mailing you personally some of the figures and some other exercises which if you practice, then you will be more confident towards these classes. Okay. You have given your mail ID also. Okay, no issue. I will give you. Next question was from Mr. Maninder Kumar Singh. So as you have guided us in AutoCAD how to bring different tools in taskbar, can you help out here? Also in mine is not showing anything. So this was the question from, most probably it was from what called SketchUp part, right? So whenever you are opening SketchUp, you may not see a number of menus or ribbons over there. Okay, so it may happen as because the default setting may be different for your PC and it is different for my PC also. So that is not a big issue. So what you can do, you can just click on the view menu and just check box and just click on the check boxes that what are the menus, what are the tools which you need in your ribbon. Okay, so my suggestion is that just click on all the check boxes and later whatever the tools which you don't need, you can just make a cross mark over there, then it will vanish. Got it? So just try to do what I have told right now, and if you still face any issue, then I will show you live. Okay, next question was from Mr. Shubham Sharma. So his query was that while placing modules at rooftop, he is facing some issue with the pillars, right? So here I want to tell you that you have to make your design or the layout in such a way that it should not face any obstacles. As because in case of a solar power plant, the main culprit or the main disadvantage of a solar power plant is the shadow. So you have to make your layout such a way that your target is to maintain a maximum sunny window during this 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And if you are getting any shadow or a little bit of shadow in any particular table, then you have to readjust or the make its position in such a way that it should not face any obstacle. So for that case, you can just select the entire table and make the use of the move command. Okay, I have shown you very clearly how to use the move command in SketchUp. Got it? So I think a little practice will make you more efficient towards this. So just practice this one and let's see what happens. Okay, next question was from Mr. Jiggar Patel. So he said that in PVSys software, you show the sub array concept, sir. Why is the sub array needed? Okay, to understand the sub array, I have skipped one question here that some of you have asked about the MPPT concept, right? What is MPPT? So just think of a situation that in case of a solar power plant, I have told you earlier many times that we have to use the same type of modules and the same module configuration for each and every string, right? As because we have to maintain the same voltage at the terminals. Suppose a situation arises due to some physical constraint. You have 15 number of modules in one string and 17 number of modules in the second string. Then how will you connect these two in a single MPPT? As because those two are connected to a single bus bar, right? So in that case, the advantage of MPPT is that it segregates a single inverter into two parts. Okay. So for example, just take that a 60 kilowatt SunGrow inverter has two MPPTs within it. Okay. In that case, we can say that the SunGrow inverter has two sections, each of 30 kilowatt, and each section will operate individually. Okay. So for the first section, you can choose any configuration of the module. And for the second case, you can choose any number of modules or any different type of modules also. So this is the advantage of MPPT. Now coming to the question which was about your what called the sub array, right? So in case of sub array is nothing but the MPPTs. An inverter has two MPPTs, which means it has two sub arrays. Okay, so for sub array 1, you will define your module configuration, and for sub array 2, you will define your other set of configuration. And it is not necessary that the sub array 1 voltage should match with the sub array 2 voltage, as because it has two MPPTs and it will act as two different inverters which will act individually. Got it? So this is the use of sub array and MPPT. Next is your question, how to design structures, what are the parameters, IS standards, current trends to be considered for different roof and ground mounted plants. So if you have little knowledge or if you are working on this solar sector, then you may have heard about this purlin, rafter, column post and all those terms, right? So these are the structures which are used in the ground mounted system. And for the rooftop system, the structures are different, having different dimensions. So for this there is a very big list of the manufacturer. So at the end of this video, if you are interested to learn about the structures, then I will give you one PDF note, then it will be more clear to you. Next is the how to commissioning plant where are common faults found in during 25 years of life cycle. Yeah, this is a very important question, that what are the common type of faults which we get in solar power plant during the running period, right? So during the first installation, it is our duty that we have to check each and every equipments very firmly. For that, we have configured different items from different manufacturers, and each of the manufacturer will provide you different checklist, O&M checklist, right? So some of those need to be conducted monthly basis or yearly basis, or some of the routine checks are on weekly basis also. And talking about the common fault, the first fault which you will face in your day-to-day life during the O&M period is the string fault. Okay, just make it clear, string fault is the very common type of fault which you will get in solar power plant. So string fault is nothing but, as in case of a solar power plant, we get positive and negative strings, right? And this entire DC system is an ungrounded system. Okay, suppose a string has 20 number of modules connected in series, and the total string voltage is approximately 800 to 900 volts DC. Okay, so this 800 to 900 volt DC you will get across the positive and the negative terminals, right? You will never get positive to ground and negative to ground as the full voltage. In case of a healthy system, the positive to ground will be half of this. That is half of this 800 volt, which will be around 400 volts. And this voltage will be floating. Okay, you will not get a constant voltage, rather it will get floating. Similarly, for the negative to ground also, it will be same. But in case of any ground fault or the string fault, so ground fault is nothing but whenever any positive string or the negative strings get some leakage current with the earth. Okay, in that case what you will get a full voltage at one terminal and zero voltage at the another terminal. So if you have a negative ground fault at your system, then you will see that the negative to earth potential will be zero and positive to earth will be full voltage at that time. So this is the very severe type and the common type of fault which you will get in solar power plant. So there are many other ways to rectify this. The first thing is that you have to check physically that whether any string get damaged or any cables get damaged within your plant or not, as because most of the cables are underground system. And if you find no fault in cables, then you have to check for the MC4 connectors. And if you find that all the MC4 connectors are okay, then you have to check the entire module, that is the entire table. As because sometimes one or two modules gets break or get some mechanical damage, then in that case also it gets some ground leakage with the frame also, as because the module frame is of aluminum, right? And this aluminum frame is grounded. So when the PV cells get connected or get damaged, then it may happen that the aluminum frame get punched with this PN junction diode. So in that case also you may get your earth fault or the string fault. So this is actually not string fault. In case of module, you have to say that it is an earth fault. So the only solution is that you have to replace that module. Okay, what material to be used for small system ACDB and DCDB boxes for standard protection? Okay, I think the question is not clear here. So I request whoever have given me this question to just, can you just type it down, or you can, I need to, as because I am not getting any clarity in this question. So you may be asking about the build quality or you are asking about the protection systems. So just clear this thing, then I will be proceeding with this question. Okay, I got it. Obviously it will be a metal enclosure. Okay, so for any type of power plant, any plastic or fiber body or even wooden body equipment is not allowed. Okay, as because there is a risk of fire. So the standard is that you have to use the metal body, and it should be coated with paint, and the thickness of the paint should be minimum 70 microns. Okay, 70 microns is acceptable, but in our day-to-day life for ACDBs or DCDBs, we used to accept 110 or 120 microns. Okay, so these microns are nothing but the thickness of the paint. And talking about the protections, we have MCCBs over here. And if you think that the leakage current would be more or there is a chance of hazard, then you can also install RCCBs in this MCCB rack also. So this will give an extra protection. But as you know, if you give extra protection, then the cost will also increase. So it depends on the client requirement. If client needs RCCB, then you have to provide that one. So RCCB is optional, and the entire rack will be a configuration of MCBs and MCCBs. And let me tell you in short that in case of MCCB and in case of ACDBs, there are B type and C types MCBs are there, right? So in case of ACDB, you see there are some feeders which will be feeding motors, and there will be some feeders or some MCBs or the outlet points which will be feeding the light loads, right? So in case of light loads, that is lighting loads, tube lights or any other lighting, LED lighting loads, you have to use B type MCB. Okay, many people make a mistake over here that they purchase all C type MCBs. So make sure that for light loads, you have to use B type MCB, and for motor loads, you have to use C type MCBs. Okay, and the rating of the MCB should be at least 25% more than the rated current of the your rated current of your equipment. Got it? And in case of DC-DB, it is better to use DC MCBs. Okay, so we have seen in many plants that people use AC MCBs in DC circuits also, but this is not a good practice. DC MCB is totally separate or totally different from the AC MCBs. Okay, DC MCBs are more sensitive, as because you know DC current are more dangerous than the AC current. Okay, and alternating current changes its polarity and magnitude over a cycle, right? It goes on maximum to minimum and keeps on cycling like this. But in case of DC supply, you will get a constant voltage or constant current, so that will be more dangerous. So for DC circuits, and moreover DC circuits are used in control panels, relays and other sensitive electronic equipments, right? So those equipments needs more protection or more sensitive device. So for that case, for DC circuits, we have to use only the DC circuit, DC MCBs. So these are the few points which you have to keep in mind while selecting the AC-DBs and DC-DBs. And for AC-DBs and DC-DBs, I want to tell one more thing, that in case of TBs or the terminal blocks or the spare MCBs, make sure that at least 10% spare is available at every AC-DB or DC-DB. Okay, next question was, can inverter harmonics output affect the AC supply to AC-DB junction boxes? Yes, obviously. Harmonics are very dangerous and the unwanted noise. And this will affect more when your load is of something rotating type like synchronous motor or induction motors. Okay, so these harmonics are not desirable in case of motors. But you know, nowadays all the inverters have filters within it, active filters within it, and the chances to get harmonics at the output of the inverter is very less. Okay, and probably for any standard inverters you will not find any harmonics, or the harmonics will be around 1 to 2%, which is fairly acceptable. Okay, next question was the current market price of PV solar modules for different rating inverter and labor charges, BOS material and price in the market. So you know, prices are dynamic. It changes from season to season and year to year. So I have given a note where you will get an idea of the current trend of the costings, and probably it is in my last lecture. Okay, you will get a download link over there, and the report was maybe of CIL. Okay, so just go through that, you will get a rough estimation or the rough idea of the costings. And to get into more details about this, so for that you have to read the data sheets and the technical specifications of the solar modules, you know, as because its range is varying. So typically if I tell about an inverter, then an inverter ranges from 25 rupees to 35 rupees per watt peak. Okay, so I am taking the average, that 29 is the average of this, and the same thing I have given in the notes. So these are the some questions which I have come through right now, and if you have something else, then you can just chat me or you can ask me directly also. Just feel free to ask question. This is a live session. The session will be more interactive when you say something and I will be replying you something, right?
Sir, can you just elaborate little bit about how selection of module or string?
Selection
Uh,
of modules or strings. Okay, fine. Fine.
it's a
Okay.
very important part, but it's a little bit complicated from the other sections that I have
Right,
come.
right, right. Right. Thank you, Maninder, for the question. So talking about the number of modules per strings, right? So as you can see, Mr. Maninder, I want to ask you whether you have any data sheet of module or inverter.
Sir,
Just chat me.
data set in a sense.
Data sheet. Okay. Have you gone through the last module?
Yes, sir. I have gone through the selection of modules part.
Selection
I
of
have,
modules part, right?
yeah.
Okay, okay. Uh, okay, just wait. I'm telling you.
I am presently in the PVC section right now.
PVC
So,
section. Okay, okay, got it, got it. No issue. Okay, all right. I got it. It is in module 6. Okay, so since you are in module 6, you didn't know or you didn't come through this uh, data sheet of the modules and inverter. So let me just share my screen so that I can show you in brief. My screen is visible to everybody or not?
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Visible, right? Okay. So just see this one. This is the data sheet of a module. I have taken the example of this Vikram solar module, right? So this is the model number. This module consists of 72 cells connected in series. Okay. So here electrical data or the electrical parameters are given over here. So we have to concentrate on few of this. So I have shown this entire thing in the lecture also. I have shared this same data sheet. So just telling again that this is the electrical data, right? And this is also electrical data. This data is the STC condition. STC stands for the standard test condition. Means these are the values which is obtained when the module is tested at the factory before dispatch. Got it? And for this testing purpose, they have taken air mass as 1.5, radiation as 1000 watt per meter square, and cell temperature as 25 degrees centigrades. Okay. So these are the some environments which they have made in the factory or they have created in the factory for the testing purpose of this module. And during this time they have got this kind of data. So taking this right hand side table, here you see that the module watt peak is 325 watt peak. So we are taking the example of this 325 watt peak Vikram solar make module. Okay, here you see the MPP voltage is 38.5 volts. This one MPP voltage is 38.5 volt. Maximum current is this, open circuit voltage is this. Now the question is, whenever we are connecting modules in series, you have to make it very clear that whenever we are connecting modules in series, our string voltage are getting added up. Means if a single module has an open circuit voltage of 46.2 volts, then if we connect 10 modules in series, then this open circuit voltage will get add up. Okay. So in case of series, the voltage will get add up and the current will remain same. Got it? Similarly, for the parallel connection, our voltage will remain same, but current will get add up. Got it? So this is the STC condition and this is the NOCT condition. So just skip this part. NOCT is nothing but nominal operating cell temperature. Okay. So just this one is the most interesting part here. You see the temperature coefficients are written over here. Temperature coefficient for open circuit voltage and for this short circuit current. Okay. Now for this open circuit voltage, the temperature coefficient is minus 0.31%. And if we convert this percentage into fraction, then we will get 0.0031, right? So what does this open circuit voltage temperature coefficient means? This means that for every rise of 1 degree temperature, there will be a voltage drop of 0.0031 volts. Got it? Make it very clear that this open circuit voltage temperature coefficient is nothing but the fall in voltage with the rise in temperature. As our temperature rises, then our voltage across the module will get decreased at this rate. Okay, and you see a small negative sign is over here, which means that it has negative temperature coefficient and our voltage will decrease, not increase. Okay, it will decrease as the temperature will increase. And talking about the opposite side, if our temperature is decreased, then the open circuit voltage will increase. Got it? So if you are planning to design a plant which is located at the Arctic Circle where there is a cover of snow throughout the year and the average temperature at that place is rarely about 2 degrees or 3 degrees or even in minus also. So in that case, what you will see that, as I have told previously in the lectures also, that our module will have maximum power or the maximum voltage at 25 degrees centigrades. Okay, so 25 degrees centigrade is the ideal temperature when we will get the maximum output from this module. Beyond this 25 degrees centigrade, our open circuit voltage will fall linearly at this rate, and below this 25 degrees centigrade our open circuit voltage will increase at this rate. That is, with every 1 degree fall in temperature, your open circuit voltage will increase to 0.0031 volts. Okay, now suppose you have taken one inverter. So I am just scrolling down. I have taken this inverter for example. You see this inverter has some specifications, right? So you see it is MPP voltage. Its MPP voltage is from 570 volts to 950 volt. Means this inverter will operate at its maximum or its predominant efficiency when it will receive a voltage of this range, that is 570 volt to 950 volts. Okay, the inverter will not be efficient below this 570 volt, and moreover above this 950 volt it is not recommended to connect these strings in this inverter, right? As because the inverter is designed to withstand this voltage 570 volt to 950 volt. Okay, now while designing the number of strings or the number of modules to be connected in series, in that case we have to keep in mind that whatever the modules we connect in series, the open circuit voltage of that string should lie in this range, that is within this 570 volt to 950 volt at all temperatures, right? And if you connect 20 modules in series, then during the summer or when the temperature is suppose 42 degrees centigrades, then you will get some less open circuit voltage, right? As because it has negative temperature coefficient of voltage. And during the winter time, as your temperature falls down, falls below 25 degrees centigrades, at that time also, at that time, your string voltage will rise drastically, right? Not drastically, but it will be in that range, that is 0.0031 volts per degree fall in temperature, right? So in that case you have to keep in mind that you have to design your number of modules such that it should be within this 570 to 950 volt at all temperatures, that is during the winter and even during the summer season also. So for this what we have done some calculations, right? So just scrolling up, this was your note, right? So the minimum number of modules per string. So for the minimum number of modules per string, what you have to do, you have to take into consideration of the maximum temperature of that place throughout the year. Okay. So for our country India, I hope all of you are belong from India, and so talking or the taking the example of India or of our country India, that the temperature of the module will be at a range of 45 to 50 degrees centigrades, right? So the worst scenario will be at 50 degrees centigrade. So in that case, we have to make sure that the that the module's open circuit voltage should lie within this 570 volt or should not fall below this 570 volt. So for this, we have taken this formula. And this is the universal formula to find out the VMP at any temperature. Got it? Similarly, for the maximum number of modules to be connected in strings, that will be limited by the minimum temperature witnessed by that location. So for that case, we have taken the VMP at 0 degree centigrade. So we have considered that a particular location in India or in our country that will be approx 0 degree centigrade at winter. So it may not be 0 degree centigrade for your design or for your project location. So it may be 4 degree, 5 degrees also. So you can change this 0 degrees accordingly. Okay. Then you will get different figures of your calculations. So this is the first procedure which is based on MPPT. Okay. Next procedure is based on the open circuit voltage. So we have to make sure that our modules or the open circuit voltage or the string voltage should lie between this MPPT range, and we have to make sure that this string voltage should lie within our voltage range of the inverter. So in that case also, what you will do, you will have to take into consideration that the open circuit voltage should not cross that boundary, that is upper limit and the lower limit boundary. And this is the optimum selection, this one. For optimum selection, you have to follow this step. Okay. So I have given a sample calculation here and taken the reference of this what called Vikram Solar Make 325 watt peak module and Sungrow 60 kilowatt inverter. So taking the combination of these two, I have given you a sample calculation, and many of you have commented that you are not getting notes in this section. So I'm telling you that just go to that section again, and a download link is provided there, and you will get the entire PDF here. And following this, it will be more clear to you. Okay. So this is all about the maximum and the minimum number of modules that can be connected in a string. And let me show you just one small thing. Yeah, whenever designing strings, what we do that we calculate the maximum number and the minimum number of modules, and for a simple power plant or having one inverter, in that case the number of modules is same, right? But it may happen that you are designing a plant for a small house which have two shades at different angles. So in that case, it may happen that for one string you have 4 number of modules in series, and for second string you have 3 number of modules in series. So in that case, obviously you cannot connect both the strings at same MPPT. In that case, have to you have to select one inverter which will have more than one MPPT or two MPPTs. Okay, so this one. So here you see this is MPPT1, this is MPPT2. For this MPPT, we have 4 number of modules in series, and for this MPPT, we have 3 number of modules in series. This is only a typical example, and both the MPPTs are nothing but individual circuit that will operate independently of each other. Okay, so that will provide more efficiency. Got it? And if you need some more notes about this MPPT or the use of this MPPT, then just comment me or just mail me, then I will revert you with one separate note also. Okay, I'm going to this comment section also. So just showing you one more screen. Yeah, this one. You see this is a typical internal circuitry of a inverter having 3 MPPTs. You see string 1 is connected to this MPPT, string 2 to second MPPT, and string 3 to this MPPT. So as you have seen in the lecture that MPPTs are nothing but the power optimizations, right? So this MPPTs will work switch on or off accordingly such that it will drive maximum power from the individual strings, right? So for this string, it will drive the maximum power from here. For this second string, this MPPT2 will drive power from here, and all this MPPT 1, 2, and 3 will feed the power to this common bus, and this will get converted to AC. Okay, so this is the beauty of MPPT. So you can consider that this is not a single inverter. This is three inverter or the three sections of the inverter functioning individually. And moreover, if one section gets faulty, then it will not affect the other two sections. Okay, so this is very user friendly for the maintenance purpose also. So I hope this elaboration is more than enough about the MPPTs or the concept of MPPTs and the sub-array system, right? Okay, some more questions is there. From where we can get PAN file? So very frankly, here also I cannot provide you PAN file. Even I have that one. So if you are planning to buy or if you are planning to design any solar plant for any particular with any particular module, then you can request that manufacturer only. Okay, you can suppose you are planning to use the Canadian solar, then you have to approach to the Canadian solar manufacturer or the distributor for the PAN file. And I'm not sure whether you will get it on internet also. Just you can browse over there also for the PAN files. So just go through that once. And to tell you one thing in short, that for modules we have PAN file, right? And for inverters we use OND file. And for OND file also, if you have OND file, then it is well enough good. And if you don't have OND file, then you have to approach the manufacturer. And you know, by default, if you upgrade your PVSys software, you will get a lot of OND file and the PAN file already available in the PVSys. Most of the famous manufacturer already provide the PAN file and the OND file in PVSys itself. Got it? Next doubt was from Mary Jo. Here it is written that how to design SLD. So can you confirm that till how long you have reached in this course? As because I have detailed to draw the entire SLD in the module 10, which is the last section of this course. Okay, here I have shown the step by step how to draw module layout, how to draw cable, how to make string layout, how to give the DC layouts also. And after the completion of this 10th module, you will get a reference document also. There you will get the every detail of the SLD, module layout, array layout, walkways, and our what called that is lightning arresters and all others which are necessary for your technical documentation. So by the end of this module 10, and if you practice with the reference sheet which I have given at the end of module 10, surely you will not have any doubt in this section. So if you ask here that how to design SLD, then it will very difficult to show here, right? So what I can suggest that just try to draw, just complete 1 and 2 modules and go accordingly like this. So the course is designed in such a way that it will gain you knowledge from the very beginning to the end. So just complete the course, and after the module 10, if you get any issue, then I will help you. I will give you more PDFs also, then that will be more than sufficient for you. Which company you recommend us need to prefer in India while choosing PV modules and inverter? So for this, I want to ask my company moderator, Mr. Anubhav sir, sir, whether it is okay to recommend any particular PV module or inverter. Okay, okay. But it's better if I don't give any written note on this, right? Okay, okay. Okay, okay, sir. Not an issue. Okay. So, Mr. Shubham, since I am working in Vikram Solar, that doesn't mean that I will recommend Vikram Solar to you. But no doubt you can go for Vikram Solar also. They manufacture from 300 watt peak to up to 400 watt peak modules also. And you know, there are many, with the current trends, there are various types of modules also. If you read, I will give you one link, and there you will get half cut modules, bifacial modules, polycrystalline modules, and monocrystalline modules, and all those. Okay, so I can recommend you for modules. Vikram Solar is good. Next, for the Adani Solar is also very good. And one more Chinese company is there, which is called the Sunten Solar. So you can just browse internet for the Sunten Solar. So Sunten Solar also manufactures fairly good modules. Okay. And for inverters, inverters, talking about the inverters, there are two kinds of inverters, right? One is the string inverter and one is the central inverter. So for string inverter, you can go for the SunGrow model. Okay, SunGrow is one of the best string inverter which is available in the market. And if you want to go a little advanced, then you can go for Solis also. SOLICE, Solis. Okay, okay. Mr. Patel, you can just discuss over here also. This is just an open communication.
Yes, started before lockdown, but due to COVID, I cannot manage to have some electrical license and other. So I just and I don't have any technical knowledge. But after watching your demo lecture, I joined the DIY Guru
Okay, okay.
course, and which is very perfectly managed and crafted for design purpose. I'm very impressed, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, okay. Mr. Patel, thank you very much for your feedback. And what I want to tell you that just stay in touch with emails also. Then if
Yes,
you
sir.
need
Yes.
some other thing which is beyond this course also, then also I can help you with those materials also, right?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. And next for the inverters, which I was telling, for the string inverters, it was Solis and what called SunGrow. And for the string type inverters, I will tell you that ABB inverters are more than best. Okay. You can give more than 5 rating. Okay, ABB central inverters are the best, and you know it is designed in such a way that it can be used in very hot climate, that is in Rajasthan also, and even in cold locations also. And you know there are very 2 or 3 sections in this ABB central inverters, which also act as individual MPPTs. And moreover, fault finding is also very easy in case of ABB inverters. Okay, you will get a very user friendly HMI interface over there, and it will detail you about each and every minor faults. Okay, next is the Mr. Maninder Singh. Can you provide us any document having details of the material used for ground mounted solar power plant? Okay, Mr. Maninder, I got your query. I will provide you within next Sunday. Okay, so this topic is, which is called that it is out of this scope, right? As because, and this is some mechanical parts. So but if you are interested, then that doesn't matter, or that is very fine, and I will provide you within a week. Sure, sure, including fabricating item I will provide you. Next, anything else? Sure, why not? Mr. Patel, I will provide you too. Sure, sure. Why not? You can give me a personal message also. So you know, chat boxes are there. While when you are working, or whenever you are proceeding to the course, you can do me personal message also. There also you can give me your mail ID. So it will be better. Yes. Anything else? I think most of the doubts are cleared, right?
Sir, one request was there for DY Guru, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, can you just provide us all the downloaded material
in one doc, in a drive, in a Google Drive, and share with us?
Google Drive.
Yeah, only the downloaded material that you can share with us in a single Google Drive.
Okay, Mr. Maninder, I want to tell you just one thing, that it is better if you complete the course first. As because if you get all the study materials at the very beginning, then you will not get interest in the upcoming courses or the upcoming modules.
No, sir. Actually, the problem is that the time when we are completing one section, and the link are not available for the downloaded part, and that's why we are not able to practice it at the home. That was the issue I am
Okay,
facing.
okay. I have seen some of your comments in some sections also. And at that time, it may be there some download materials was not available, but after your comment, some of those were modified also, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was
So, so can you tell me in which module you are right now?
sir. I have completed 6th module. I am in 7th module right now.
Sixth module, right?
Yes.
So my suggestion is just go through the module 1 to module 6 once again, then you will find some more downloadable resources there. Okay. And for your request, what you have said that you need all those in single yeah, single Google Drive file, that are also we are trying for that, and surely we will provide you.
Yeah, so it will be better for us that it will be always we can access in the futures also. That might be that we are downloading in today and it will get lost to yesterday. But in Google Drive, I can access it anytime.
Yeah, sure. N- yeah. Okay, not an issue. I will give you that one. Our next question was from Mr. Shubham. Are we going to design off-grid model in this course? I am in 8 module right now. 8 module. Just let me see what is in 8 module. Have you completed the 8 module, or you are in 8 module in between this 8 module? Okay, I am doing assignment. I have completed 8. Okay. And maybe you have gone through one off-grid designing system also, right? Okay, that was in module 6 first lecture, right? So there you have seen there you have seen module sizing, inverter sizing, battery sizing, and all those. So you can do this in PVsyst also. So for off-grid system means whatever I have told in the 6th module, that is more than enough. So what else you need in this off-grid system? You know the size of the battery, size of the module, your power consumption, the maximum capacity which is supposed to be installed at your rooftop for the autonomous or the autonomy days, right? So I think this is more than enough. And for the designing is more or less same for the megawatt and this rooftop plants also. Here also you have to approach with the AutoCAD, make array layouts, make string layouts, inverter placement, earthings, and all those. And for the sizing purpose, just go through this module 6 first lecture once again. So that will clear the exact size of the battery, exact size of the modules, inverters, and what are the other stuffs which we need during this off-grid sizing. Okay, Mr. Shubham, just give me a time of 1 week. So I will just prepare one note, and we will discuss all this in the next live session, right? So that will be more clear to you. Mr. Shubham, just confirm me one thing. Just confirm me one thing, that can you just elaborate what is the user, what you mean by this? We have to define user requirement. You are talking about the monthly bills, right? Or something else? Just write in brief, then I will come to know.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, sir. While designing the off-grid system in the PV system, we have to define the user requirement about the load, various type of the load with the user have, like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
yeah, and we have to also define the battery sizes in this before we are going to designing a 3D model in the PV system.
Previous is right.
Yeah, so we have to define these two parameters before we are going to design 3D panel 3D model of this user requirement of the user or the user model.
No. Mr. Shivam, you are doing one thing wrong. That for the 3D model, you have to do it at the last. The
Yeah,
very
sir.
first thing you have to calculate the load requirement. That is
Yes,
the
sir.
either you can proceed with the monthly electricity bill of the consumer,
No,
or
sir.
you can
Yes, sir. You may continue, sir. I am sorry to interrupt.
No, not an issue. So either you can go with the electricity bill of the consumer, or you can do one thing. You can just note down the number of loads and how many hours it is running per day. Okay.
Okay.
In that case also, you will come to know about the maximum or the kilowatt hour that is consumed per day. Got it?
Okay.
So our
Good.
solar plant should be designed such that it will be capable to meet this kilowatt hour requirement. Right.
Right.
And if you are talking about the autonomy is nothing but suppose you do not get any sunny day for 1 day or 2 days, and you are designing a battery connected system. So
Yes.
in that case, you are considering that you are designing your system such that if you are not getting sunny day for the next 1 or 2 days, then also your battery or the capacity should be such that it would be capable to deliver that load for this 1 or 2 days. So that is called the autonomy. Okay. So autonomy increases, then the number of batteries or the capacity of the battery will also increase accordingly. So I just want to tell you that just go through that number 6th lecture once again, and in the meantime I will give you one note and that will more clear to you.
Sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, I will give you one table, just one table, which will detail about each and every load and the number of running hours. And the same thing I have given in the video lecture. Okay, just go through this module once again. You will get one downloadable resource there.
Okay,
So
sir.
just go through that PDF once, and if you still face any issue, just write me a mail.
Sir, I was facing, I used the same data that you have provided in the module to design the model in the PV system. But
Right.
I faced some issues regarding the batteries sizing and something more. So that's why I am asking to provide a video on it.
Okay.
It will be very beneficial to if you
Okay.
elaborate it on visually,
Yeah.
visually, yeah, you may understand it.
But we have to define requirements. Oversizing of inverter is very common in Australia and other countries. Why we use India module and inverter having same capacity? Any special calculation? Okay, Mr. Patel, just tell me, I want to tell you one thing, that in India also we used to do oversizing. Okay, so just let me share my screen once again. Okay, Mr. Patel, just I'm taking the same example, that is this Sungrow 60 kilowatt inverter. Okay, here you see in the very first page, it is written here long time overload is 1.1 PN. Okay, and maximum DC to AC ratio is 0.4. Got it? It means
Okay.
if your inverter is of 100 kilowatt, then you can connect a DC load up to 140 kilowatt. So this is a type of oversizing, right? Means oversizing of your DC capacity. So
Okay.
in that case, what we do have you gone through the PV system model?
Yes, sir. But I haven't got some time to exercise more.
Okay. In PV Syst, you will find one detailed losses tab. Okay. There you see
Yes.
that, can I show you just once that one? It will be better if I share my screen. Okay, just let me open my PV Syst software first. Mr. Patel, you will come to know about one term which is called the clipping losses. Okay. So So
Okay.
clipping loss are nothing, but whenever you make the DC ratio more than your AC ratio, in that case, during the peak hour, what an inverter do, it limits the output, what can be actually generated from that input. So those are called clipping losses. So during the oversizing, we have to keep in mind that this clipping loss should not go beyond our limit.
Right, sir.
And here, this one, okay. Can you see my screen?
You're right, sir. Yes.
Okay. Here under this tab, that is system tab. Okay. Just click on this system tab whenever you are designing your system. In that case, you see here the number of modules in series, number of strings. Okay. Here you see the overload loss is 0%. Okay. And
Yes.
PNOM ratio is 0.97. It means whatever the DC capacity is there, that is nothing but the 97% of our AC capacity. Got it? Now, for the time being, just consider that we are increasing this number of strings to 5. Okay. In that case, you see here also the overload loss is 0 again. Just increase it once more. Now you see the overload loss is 0.4%. So this is nothing but the clipping loss. As because the inverter is same, what you are doing, you are just increasing the number of modules. Okay. In that case, if you click on this show sizing, just click over here. You see whenever it reaches the maximum power, it is clipping this power. Okay. This kilowatt. Below, beyond this 20 kilowatt, it is just rejecting this power. These are nothing but the overload losses. So you have to make sure that this overload loss, ideally it should be 0, 0. So what you can do in this case, here we have taken a 20 kilowatt inverter. Okay. And number of modules is 15 per string and total number of strings is 6. So 15 multiplied by 6 will be approximately 90 modules, right? So here you see the overload loss is 0.4%. So what we can do, we can just decrease the number of modules. Then you see our overload loss will also be reduced. Got it? So
Right.
sometimes what we do, we sometimes overload our inverters also. So it is sometimes called a good practice to achieve the promised generation. Okay, but the inverter also inverter manufacturer also put an upper limit at this age that you cannot overload your inverter above this 1.4, that is 140%. Got it? So it is
Okay.
up to you how much you will overload this.